Hey guys, this is Bud Riley with NTX Varsity Sports Network. We're here at Brock High School, about to go interview head coach Billy Mathis and see what the Eagles have in store for this 2025 season. Program's got winning pedigree, which means there's a lot of high expectations. How are you guys managing that coming into the season?
We're pretty lucky with the kids that we have because, growing up here, playing through, the Pee Wee associations and all that stuff, we got a lot of great dads that help out that have not only, do a good job coaching, but most of them have played college football and played high school football. So when they get out here, let me tell you, they take it very serious. So, you're going to start playing football, whether it's first grade, second grade, or third grade, man, they're expected to win. And I promise you this, there's sometimes I look out there and I think their practices that they're having out there, the Pee Wee practices are harder than our practices. I know they're longer. That's a fact. But, with that winning pedigree, I think it's something that's just instilled in you. Brock, before football was even here, with the basketball and the golf and the baseball, the state championships that they had won. And then they bring in football, and then, football wins state championship in 2015. And it's just something that you do. It's not something that, some places you go play football because it's fun. Here in Brock, Texas, you play football because it's life.
Yes, sir. So football's life. You got the struggle of putting together a new team every year with guys graduating, though. So how many returning lettermen do you have on both sides of the ball? Just an estimate.
So, we lost 23 seniors last year, and man, each year that as Brock has grown, the senior class has gotten bigger and bigger. So, we lost 23, and all of them were a big loss. This year we're bringing back 22 seniors. So we've got, we're lucky enough, we've won a lot of games where a lot of the backups play a ton. They might not have been the starters. So, we're right around 4 starters on offense we're bringing back and 4 on defense.
So one of those guys you lost was Brody Woods, and that leaves you with a quarterback competition coming into the season. Who are your contenders, and when do you hope to have that settled out and ready to go?
Brody was, not only a great quarterback, but a great leader, great young man. We're really going to miss him. And you guys know this. If you don't have a dude back there running your quarterback, it's hard to go be really good. So, for us, we've got some younger guys that are coming up. Holt Frazier, he was our JV quarterback last year. And we got another kid that played safety and inside receiver for us last year as a sophomore named Braden Ray. So Holt and Braden they'll both run the quarterback spot for us. Both of them have great talents. Both of them run the ball well, both of them throw the ball well. So, for what we do, both those guys will get in there and take some snaps at the quarterback position. And luckily for us, with our guys, with Holt and Braden, they're there for just to win. They're not worried about who's going to start the game at quarterback or who's going to do it. They know, hey, when it's their turn, they're going to get out there and they're going to go be the best for the Brock Eagles.
So you spoke about how good of a leader Brody was. Every coach we've talked to has spoke on how much leadership means to them in their programs. Where do you stand with the guys coming into this season, and is there any guys that are stepping up as leaders that you like seeing right now?
Each and every year we have guys that have to step up and replace the seniors that have left. And, this group of seniors that we have right now, special to me because my son Slade's going to be a senior, and being part of that class. So, the guys that they do a good job as a group of getting there and leading, and they lead the way that you want seniors to lead. They go in there and they're, they take care of the younger guys. There's been some seniors that go and, you've got to earn your, you got to pay your dues. You got to do all that type of stuff, but they're not mean. The younger guys love the seniors. They want to go play hard for the seniors, And when you got a guy like Colt Matlock, Colt Matlock is everybody's All-American, man. The guy, he can play football, basketball, baseball, track. He can do it all, right? Everybody loves him, man. Mr. All-American, Mr. Handsome. All the girls love him, But that dude, it never goes to his head. And, he's in the weight room getting after it. He's out there on the field getting after it. He is very motivating. He's very encouraging, So guys like him, coming in as a senior, you got some of our old lineman guys like Tobin Rogers and those guys who have been playing with us since sophomores. Those guys have stepped up as being great leaders. You got Charles Hibbler out there at receiver and corner. Charles does a great job of leading. Some do more vocal leading. Some do it more by the way they go out there and, the way they go out there and compete. But all of our seniors and all of our groups, they all do a great job of going out into this community and leading. Rarely ever get the emails that say, Coach, saw some of your boys up there at Whataburger, saw some of your boys up there at the Eagle's Nest acting a fool or talking crazy. I don't get very many. I've had them, but I don't get very many. I hadn't gotten very many in the last couple of years. And the good thing is I get those emails that say, Coach, I saw your boys. So respectful, so thankful. So that's the leadership that we want. That's the leadership that we try to teach, and that's the way these guys are.
So you're a couple years in here. And you've coached for a while, but you took a break there, and you're back to coaching football. You're a couple years here in Brock. What makes you want to wake up and come here every day to coach these boys?
Man, in 2007, when Slade was born, I'd gotten out of coaching and, got out for a couple of years. And it was a great learning experience, but I realized and I learned God put me here on earth to coach and teach. And, here at Brock, this is the start of my 5th year. It's not only an amazing community, but these boys, man, the loyalty that they have to show up every day and to work the way they work, and not only just come up here to be great football players, but, man, we go hang out in the locker rooms out there on the field. They're fun. They love each other. They take care of each other. That's the reason I get up every morning. That's the reason I stay up late at night. Me and the coaches stay up here and game plan the way we game plan. It's for those guys. They give us everything, and we got to do the same thing. Our ultimate goal is to give them everything that they can to be successful, to maximize each one of them. And each one of them, whether it's your starting quarterback or whether it's your backup, or third string defensive tackle, each one of those guys, man, they're here every day because that's what they do, because they care about their teammates. And, we try to preach, you got to care as much for the guy to your left and to the right, more than you do about yourself. And when everybody's doing that, you have that selfless team. Those are the teams that are great.
So thinking about the kind of identity your team's going to adopt going into the year, are those the buzzwords you have in your head? Selfless, hardworking, what kind of identity?
Oh, yeah. I know it sounds cliche because all us coaches, man, every program teaches that stuff. Right? We got to be the example of it. Us coaches, we're the ones that we got to go set the tone, right? And if you are who you are sometimes, the way you are all the time, right? You've heard that a lot.
Yes, sir.
And it's a fact. It's the truth. And for us to go out and do it, our motto this year is be the light. God said, hey, let there be light. Spoke in one word, the power of light. To be that power. One little pinhole of light can brighten up a whole dark cave. We want to be that power out there on the field, right, as football players, of going in the weight room and doing everything we can to get prepared and ready. But we also want to be that light out there for the community, for the people in the school, So for us, absolutely, we want to be the toughest football team out there. We want to go, and you got to be the most disciplined, and you have to be the toughest. Everybody's got great players, but who's going to go lay it on the line? Who's going to go out there in the fourth quarter, man, when going gets tough and you're tired and your tongue's dragging? Who's going to look to the right and to their left and say, let's get this done, boys, and go out there and have that fight in them to go finish a game?
So who are some of those hard-nosed guys for you on the defensive side of the ball? We spoke about offense.
Man, I got a ton over there on the defensive side of the ball, starting down there at the D-line, you got, Waylon Winfrey. Waylon, he played offensive line, defensive line, played with us as a sophomore. Played more O-line, got in there, played a lot of D-line behind us. And you got my son Slade down there at defensive end. I've got Caleb Holt back there. I got, right there at my middle linebacker. Man, I've got some dudes. I got a young guy, Jack Farhat, Hayden Waller, of course, Colt and B-Ray. And, the guys that we have coming back, Dax Hayes, Logan, all the dudes that we have over there on the defense, they've all got the same mentality, right? We're going to do our job. We're going to know it inside and out, and we're going to do it fast. And when we get there, we're going to bring hell with us, and that's the goal. We want to come, and we want to come with bad intentions.
Yes,
you know,
sir.
and I was told this a long time ago by one of our coaches. I heard him telling the guys, he said, there are things that you can do out there on that football field that they'll put you in jail for if you did out in the world. And, you know, you think about it like, you know, that's right. You know, you're not going out there doing anything crazy, but you're going to go out there and put a helmet and shoulder pads on and go try to run your body through somebody else's body. You got to be a little bit half crazy to do it, right? And you got to love that type of just passion and violence and insanity that you got to be on the defensive side of the ball, right? And doing it all, once again, going back to what I said earlier, you got to be disciplined to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just be out there running around like a chicken with his head cut off. You got to go out there and you got to have a plan. You got to be disciplined. And when that ball snapped, you got to react and go.
So you've got a lot of qualities that you're looking at for players.
Yeah.
But what does it take to be a guy that can go both ways? And how comfortable are you with sending guys out there to play on offense and defense?
Man, we're comfortable with it. We do it year in and year out. You know, we love. Man, I would love to have 11 starters on offense, 11 starters on defense, and you got 11 out there on your special teams. Because, you know, the more jerseys that get dirty, the higher the morale. You know, but I tell our guys all the time, we're going to give everybody a chance. Everybody's going to have a shot. So, you know, being able to play guys both ways, it's always a good thing because you want your best 11 players out there on the field to go win a football game. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's our duty as coaches to get the guy that may not be the starter, he's the backup. How close can I get him to being, you know, as effective as the starter is? So I think as a coaching staff, we do as good a job as any staff in the state of getting the most out of the guys that might not be the starters. That when it's their turn, there's a very little drop-off, if any.
I really appreciate you sitting down with us. I wanted to give you a chance if there's anything I didn't ask. You want to add on anything about this season that you want to mention?
You know, for me and you know, just the world of education, right? There's it always seems like it's kind of under attack at times, but you know, this is a job that I feel like as teachers and coaches that you're called to do, and we take a lot of pride in what me and my coaching staff of what we do. Our administration here at Brock is unbelievable, outstanding. And for us to have the support from our administration, the support that we have from our town, to be able to come out here and take care of the parents' most prized possession. I don't know if you have kids or not, but let me tell you, people will tell you two things, right? And the old man told me this when Slade, my first son, was born. He said, you're going to love that boy more than you love anything in the world. And you know you're going to love your son, but you don't realize it. And then day after day after day, you're like, how can I love him more? I feel like I love him more than I did now. It's the truth, you know, and I think that's God just showing us, man. He loved us so much, he sent his son to die for us. And we really can't fathom that love. But we'd jump in front of a car for our kids. And the second thing he said, don't blink. And that's the truest thing in the world, you know. I tell these seventh graders and these freshmen and stuff, don't blink, boys. Don't miss a day because you're going to be a senior before you know it. But to be in a place like Brock that there's so much support and so much love, and for the parents to trust us to do what we do with their kids every day and ask no questions, man, it's unbelievable. It's one of the greatest gifts they could give me and my coaching staff, to trust us that much with their boys, you know, that we go out here and, man, we're going to get them ready, not only to go be unbelievable football players, right? Whether it's football, basketball, baseball, track, whatever we do, we're going to pour our heart and souls into these young men. And when they leave out of here, I hope one day they look back, they get married and have kids, they say, you know what, I want my kids to go, I want to move back to Brock. I want to make a difference the way my parents made a difference and keep this train rolling.
Now, one last quick question. How has coaching your son made you a better coach?
Man, I'll tell you this. You know, my first couple of years of coaching, Coach Buchanan over at Lido hired me, and I was middle school coach, and these kids, you know, they're seventh graders, 12, 13 years old, and they're rolling in late, and boy, I couldn't wait. I was like, come on, boys, you got some up-downs to do. You know, it's not their fault, it's their parents' fault. You know, so once I had kids and I got into coaching, it does soften you up a little bit. Mm-hmm. You know, you start thinking, well, your kid's at home and, you know, or he's not feeling well or something, and I'm thinking, boy, He ain't got time to get sick, but my son's sick. So it softened me up some. It's made me not take things for granted as much. It's made me open my eyes a lot, just as a dad. And really and truly, I think it's made me as a person love these boys more. Because, man, they're just, I know they're not mine, but my gosh, we spend so much time together. They are mine. And I love them. And I want to hug them. And I want to kick them in the butt sometimes. I want to get after them, I want them to act right and do the things that they need to do. So having kids, your own kids that you coach, it's a great thing, and it's what you tell your son too, boys, y'all got to do things right. You got to do it better than everybody else, because I don't want anybody ever looking and saying the only reason you're playing is because I'm the coach.
Mm-hmm.
So that's extra motivation for them. And for us, we got a lot of coaches on staff that have kids. We got a lot of young kids that are up here. They tear our field house up. If there's food or candy, they eat it all. They don't throw their trash away. They're animals. But I wouldn't change it for the world. And that's really a cool thing. Talking to other coaches and seeing their kids. Because before the games, a lot of times the coaches' kids and stuff are down there. They're the ball boys. Well, they're going to play a heck of a football game before the game even starts.
Mm-hmm.
Watching them get out there and get after each other. And watching other coaches talk about their kids, their sons, their daughters, and watching their eyes light up. It's a special deal.
All right. Well, I really appreciate you, Coach. Good luck this year. I hope we can get some revenge on Carthage.
Man, they're a good football team.
Huge thanks to head coach Billy Mathis here at Brock High School. We hope the Eagles have a big year this year. And this has been Bud Riley with NTX Varsity Sports Network.